and start the Twitch stream, which I just did. So Twitch is up. I'm going to go to my stream manager. Over here. Wait for it to go. Okay. Should be going. We should be live.
If I do need, I know this is a good problem to have.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, I do need someone to leave the podcast so we can get our guest in. And it looks like he's in. We're full.
Okay.
Lock it in.
Lock it in.
Lock it in. He's in. He is in. Okay. So now that is settled, I can pass on my other song that I have queued up. And we can actually get the stream started because my little intro thing here is going to be roughly about 5 minutes. So Taylor, if you're all set to go, then we can get the show on the road.
All set to go, watching the stream on Twitch live and talking to everybody over there as well. So you won't be left out if you're on the Twitch stream.
As you all know, this is going to be our anniversary episode, and so I do have the happy birthday song that I had made queued up, ready to go, and then we'll start the show soon after. Enjoy.
Happy birthday, Eve echoes. It's been a long year, 4 years strong, more memories to share, new horizons bright, anniversaries glow, many more to come, together we will grow, let this be great, new content on the way, let's celebrate this right before the big day. Cheers and smiles, laughter all around, making moments with a joyful sound. Ships in the sky, ready for flight. In this special time, everything feels right. Let this be great, new content on the way. Let's celebrate the year before the big day. Cheers and smiles, laughter all around, making moments with a joyful sound. Ships in the sky, ready for flight. In this special time, everything feels right. Let this be great, new content on the way. Celebrate the year before the big day.
experiencing an echoes of New Eden production.
Three, two,
the news and content that nobody else in New Eden does. Welcome to the Echoes of New Eden podcast.
And what's going on, everybody? Welcome to Echoes of New Eden podcast. This is our special anniversary episode. As you all can see, I am here with Taylor Rick. It is I, Rambo, and we have Taylor. I'm not late today, Rick.
I was on time. I was on time. I was actually early. I was ready to go. And this is going to be one hell of an episode. There's going to be a lot going on tonight.
We already are pumped up, as you can tell in the new intro.
Yep.
We are pumped up today. Pumped up. And it just keeps going forever. Let me turn it down a little bit.
Yeah.
Let me fade it out. Yeah. Let me fade it out. So, yes, that's a remix of the intro that I had. I had originally made that as an intro, and then I turned it into a song, and then after the fact that the song was out, called Eveco Sucks, in which I don't really think that. I'm pretty sure I stated that everywhere. But I made that song.
Is that better if I eat the mic, Lou? Is that better?
Yeah, you're better now.
Okay.
Yeah. Talking to the microphone, please.
Talking to the microphone. I will talk into the microphone.
Yes. So I originally made that as an intro, and then I turned it into a song, and then I made it into an intro finally. So spent quite a bit of time on that, but here we are. Another week has gone by, and yeah, I wasn't around last weekend, but pretty much the last time that I was doing any sort of content for Eve Echoes was I released that album, kind of just me talking about it on a podcast episode. It wasn't released on YouTube. I just to get around to making videos, because I have to cut it all up and I just make separate videos. It's not my thing. It's not my jam. I don't really promote the YouTube that much anyway, but it is what it is. So speaking with YouTube, I do want to give a shout, if there's people that are not subscribed to that, if you do subscribe it, that'll make sure that you're up to date on all the content that we do provide on that channel. It's not always podcast episodes. Sometimes it's other stuff as well. So like Taylor's patch notes,
every other Tuesday night
along with
now.
Songs.
Yep, every other Tuesday night. Yep, and I put the songs up there, but I have my own channel for that too, to kind of segment things a little bit. So
sure.
But yeah.
Yep. I don't need people to like and comment and whatever else. If you subscribe, that is for you personally. Yeah, we don't monetize this channel or anything, so
yep.
It's all for you to be up to date on everything. So, and as well, if you're not listening on podcast platforms, you can subscribe to there and get the episodes automatically downloaded to your device on Spotify or Apple or wherever you listen to podcasts. So, in the meantime, I don't want to hold everybody up. We do have an exciting show. Taylor, I know we had mentioned it in the pre-show. Did you have a Duo Omega to give away?
We have 2 Duo Omegas to give away before we start with the main show here, because I know we've got someone that's waiting, and we don't want to make him wait for too long, but we've got 2 questions. You know how trivia used to go. So for those of you who don't, I'll just go over the rules really fast. I'm going to ask the question right here live. So those of you on Twitch are going to be a little bit of a disadvantage because of the lag. I'll try to ask the questions a little slow. The first person to respond in chat, in the Discord chat, to get it right is the winner. Okay, that's the winner. Now, granted, sometimes you're going to type in something and someone else is going to type in something, and on your end it might look like you're first, and on my end it looked like somebody else is first. Tough shit. Get good, get better internet. I don't know what to tell you. So it's 2 questions. Duo Omega, I will need your character ID for the player you want your Duo Omega to go to tonight. No waiting around. If I don't get it tonight, I give it to one of my alts. All right, question number, and it takes about 2 weeks, sometimes 3, in order for this to actually be applied. So don't expect to see it next week, okay? It takes a couple of weeks, and I will track these and stay on top of them. So this Discord chat, yeah, right here in on air, yes, exactly, right here in the on air chat on the Discord. Okay, here we go. We've got 2 questions. First one for Duo Omega. When were condensed and intumescent belts introduced into the game? When were condensed and intumescent belts introduced into the game? It's not at launch. 2021 is close. It was in that year. What month? What month of 2021? What month? We got everybody's saying all kinds of months, but we're not even close. You're on the wrong side of April's closer. April's closer. Keep typing. It's not February. Darez got it. February 2021. So Darez, I need the character ID that you want Duo Omega on sent to my DMs before the show is over, or you don't get it applied. Perfect. That's hilarious. There it is.
Gotta throw it in there.
That's great. All right, question number 2 for the second Duo Omega giveaway. And Darez, if you get this right, you can just give Duo Omega to a second tune of yours, okay? So it doesn't matter. We don't discriminate even against salt. So here we go. What was the major October 21 release by NetEase for this game? What was released in October of 2021? Grandmaster Michael got it with capitals. Capitals were introduced into this game in 2021, October of 2021. Can you believe it's been that long?
How it has?
We've had
Holy
capitals
smokes.
since October of 2021. So I need your DM. I need a DM from you with your character ID as well. We'll get the Duo Omega out to you. And that is how Trivia Duo Omega works. We're going to do that either on the main show on a Sunday, or sometimes when I do the patch notes. We're going to do it every week now. So there's your 2.
Good deal.
Yeah, big
Sweet.
domination. You're
So-
right. Big answers the questions faster than everybody else.
Is a community manager responsive now and at least sending out that document in which you submit info, or what's going on with that?
It's
or is this
pinned.
personal funded?
It's not personal funded. This is coming from
Okay.
NetEase. It is pinned over there, and I've heard from 2 other contract creators that those are actually working again. And I tried this about 2 weeks ago on an alt just for the hell of it to see if it would work, because I don't want to try to award these things again just to piss people off and have it not go through. But they've all gone through. So I mean, I can't control what NetEase does, but if they're willing to do that again and the thing is working, and now that we have kind of a little formula down of when we're supposed to do it, i.e. I have to turn those in no later than a Tuesday. I know they say Thursday, or someone before, or Juby had said Thursday, but I'm hearing that if you turn it in on a Monday or a Tuesday, then it'll go through within a 2-week period. If you don't do that, for whatever reason, maybe it's the one intern there they don't pay who's only doing these on a Monday or a Tuesday. I don't understand what the formula is all about, but that's what it is. So anyway.
All right, good deal. Continue on. Now,
Look at I just saw that with the Hawk 2 with all the Titans on it. I love it.
yeah,
How to keep Titans hard.
that is pretty good. That's pretty good.
Did you see her interview she did
Yeah.
with Bill Maher?
I haven't actually.
Oh my gosh.
I did not.
That chick's hilarious.
I know it's kind of dumb, but
Yeah,
it is
yeah,
what it
I
is.
know. That's what I
Anyway.
mean. It's pretty it's hilarious. She's not bad looking, Shane.
All
You're
right.
right. Anyway, getting into it.
All right. Let's get into the meat and potatoes of the show. All right. So this time around, we do have a little bit of a different layout today. We are going to actually start with our guest, and we're going to have him on. It's Jakoba. If you already don't know, we have Jakoba in the audience, and we'll get him on here in a little bit. As well as we have some other community news. We have some game news, some potential updates, some stuff that we've been seeing this last week, and possibly even some disappointments into what we may see in this anniversary event, if we do see it. So that's kind of,
You talk
I
about a
haven't seen
roller
anything.
coaster. you haven't seen anything from any of this?
No, I haven't. So I have actually been in contact with Manaru. I've texted her every day, and I have not gotten a reply in over a week. So I don't know what they're. Yeah, right, stalker. Yeah, I don't know what I'm trying to get info, and nothing is getting passed on. So unless you know something, we'll save that for later on in the show.
Yeah.
If there's anything happening with the content creators that I might not know, since of
Okay.
course I'm not in that program anymore. But we will talk about that here in a bit. But in the meantime, I don't want to keep people waiting. I'm actually really excited to have Jakoba on the show
Very
for
excited.
the first time.
Very excited.
And you know, I was so excited, I had actually made him an intro song.
Ah, here we go.
I'd made him an intro song. Can you believe it? We'll get him on. Let me start this thing. Everybody, welcome Jakoba. How is it going, Jakoba?
Good evening. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah, we can hear you.
All right, perfect.
I got a little bit of Davy Jones theme song going in the background for you. I figured that'd lighten up the mood a little bit. I mean, when I think Kraken, I think of Davy Jones.
Can't hear
really
anything
did.
over the music, or turn that music in the background down a little bit or
geez.
something. It's
I
kind of
turned
loud.
it down.
It's really well. It
Oh,
just needs
sorry
to come
about
down a
that.
little bit. Yeah, that's all.
Yeah, I turned it down to 33%. So rip.
Thank you
Okay.
guys very much for having me. I'm thrilled to be here.
Yeah, thanks for coming
the
on, man.
intro.
Thanks for coming on. I'm just thrilled that you have
Yeah.
the balls to come on the show, unlike some other people, right? Like, it's great. I mean, the guys that have come on the show who've said, no, I shouldn't, and then they do, or maybe I'm going to get, it's going to be bad for me, and then they do. It's always turned out great, and so I'm happy to have you on.
I'm thrilled to be here.
Yep.
And it's funny. I look around in the audience, and I see a lot of folks that have blown me up in space. I see some folks that maybe from time to time had the good fortune to lock into and focus fire either in fleets or 1-to-1 or otherwise. But it's good. It's good to be amongst you guys. I appreciate it. Thanks for the invite.
Yeah, thanks for coming.
Yeah, glad to have you. And as you've probably known, I think I've told you in our chat, we've had Ozzy on in the past, we've had Doro on in the past, some other people from Burr, as well as we have a lot of followers that are in Burr. And then now that Kraken has formed, we had extended the invite out to both you and Sarpedon to come on the show and talk about your new alliance and how everything is going with that. And so I guess first things first is, how's the new alliance going? How's it been in this last 2 weeks since the announcement of the merge?
It's been pretty crazy for anybody that's been in any kind of merger, whether it's in the real world or in a small community, or for those that are longtime video game players or otherwise. It's a little bit of insanity and controlled chaos. There was a team that had come together to think through a lot of the things that we were going to ultimately have to deal with. And you think you got your handle on some stuff, and then it actually happens, and you end up a little bit like the dog who caught the bus. And, for the 50 million things that you actually do in getting ready, there's 500 billion things that you have to do after it happens. So, look, I'm having a ball with it. I hope that the folks that are a part of it are having fun. It was time for a change. I think change was really critical for the game, for the server, for our communities. And I think there's a couple key points. I don't want to put words in the mouth of our pilots, but a couple key points that I think speaks volumes to what has happened. Number one, we didn't have any corporations from either of the legacy organizations that opted out. And that's a pretty significant statement, because you're talking about, upwards of 40 different corporations, each with their own CEOs, and each with their own leadership teams, and each with their own communities, and every single one of them opted in, which we're really proud of that. I think that's a big achievement. As the teams have come together and we've set up the different sort of functional departments, and people are stepping into leadership, and people are getting to know each other, as you might imagine, people that are used to kind of running their department their own way or leading their groups of people their own way, now all of a sudden they're with teams of folks that, maybe it's new to them, maybe it's not new to them, and they're figuring it all out. But I think it's been a positive step forward for both of our communities. Time will tell. But again, both Sarp and I, and Sarp again apologizes he's not here tonight, but we felt that our communities and the server needed to change. And, I guess time will tell whether or not it's a positive change.
Right. Yeah. So here you would have released the Kraken Alliance announcement. Basically, I believe this is for the most part public. You had sent it to us, and we of course we read it and look at all this stuff. And you have here Kraken, named after the legendary Titan and sea monster, symbolize the colossal strength and fearsome presence of a new alliance will command. This merger brings together the best captains, navigators, and crews from both alliances, forming a powerhouse team ready to hoist the anchor and set sail for the new adventures. So the name Kraken, like, how did this come about? Did you and Sarp or Moxon or anybody else kind of put ideas into a pool and eventually come up with this name? Because I do feel that it is kind of it's got some elements of both alliances, right? You got Burr, which was like your pirate themed kind of alliance, and then you had Void, which I'm taking as kind of like void space, kind of like galaxy galactic type stuff.
Purple.
Into ultimately your new alliance and name and image so far. How did this all come about?
Sure. So I think it was a little bit of luck and a little bit of planning. We're all playing a video game, so in many ways we're all just a bunch of grown-up kids, right? If you think about even the nature of the show and the intros and the music and all of that, it's got to be fun. So if you look around, and by the way, I have zero history in EVE Online. I never played EO. Okay, so I'm fresh, like roughly day one player into EE. And for me, it was all new. Creating an identity and things to rally around, and the memes and the jokes and all that other. And I'm also not like a longtime hardcore video game player as well. So a lot of this was new, right? And the folks in my own community love making fun of me. Like literally the picture that you see in my Discord is actually me. So that shows you how creative I am. My name is actually Jacob. So there's not a lot. I'm literally boomer moment, and I just embrace it, right? I'm a 55-year-old married dude with kids and all that other. So I'm a nerd, and I just embrace it. So when we get to kind of identities in the game, it's fun to watch the different animals that whether you're a cow or you're a cat or you're a dog or whatever the hell you are, the snakes in space or whatever it might be, coming together around a new identity, something that was that gave room for people to play with, for people to kind of gravitate around, was going to be something that I think people would latch on to. So for us, I think you'd absolutely right. When you look at Burr's history, when you look at Void's history, but then also it's a nod to the fact that one of the big reasons behind the merger is Titans are coming. Now, are they around the corner, or is it further down the road? Who knows with NetEase? But we're all very excited about it. I have to assume that you and your audience is super excited about it. We all want to get on the grids. We all want to get in these ships. And the fact that the Kraken also happens to be a Titan is, really handy. Now, the funny part is, in Sarpedon, he would tell you he's a big hockey fan, and which is really hilarious, because when we landed on the name, he's like, oh, God. He's like, everybody's going to think that I pushed it because of the Kraken hockey team. Nobody's going to let him live it down. And I will tell you, that was just dumb luck. It was dumb luck, because when we landed on the idea, he goes, oh my God, that would be amazing. You'll never get any fight from me. So he liked it from day one because of his passion for hockey. As you start Googling it, there's a lot of good stuff to play with. And one of the things that we've done within the Kraken communities, we've really given a big platform for our content creators. So we have a dedicated media team that's working across all different media platforms, from artwork to music, poetry, whatever your thing that you're into. we leave a lot of room for people to create it. And now with all the tools that are out there, the AI generators and whatnot, combined with people's just natural creativity, it's amazing to see some of the shit. You might see some of it in some of the people's avatars here, but there's been some really, really cool, fun ways for people to identify with this new brand. And, you know, we're seeing it now when we go out into fight or how we're communicating about who we are. And it's given, I think, people something to rally around. So we're having fun with it. Let's put it that way. Hopefully you guys will have fun with it too. I do want to give a shout out to whoever who created the artwork of the Kraken sitting on top of the blue donut. That gave me a huge laugh. So good on you for that. That was awesome. And then the other one that I think just absolutely takes the cake, I think it's freaking hilarious, was when we first decided on the two in-game alliances of KRA and KEN. Somebody managed to get a Ken and Barbie doll intertwined with two Kraken kind of tentacles and, you know, kind of wrapped around each other, which I still just think it's absolutely freaking hilarious. So
oh, God.
Good on everybody for their sense of humor with this thing and being a big kid.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like, you got to have fun with it, right?
Right.
At the end of the day, you got to have fun. So, you know, you're talking about the media team. That just, it gave me the idea. Are we going to get a Kraken podcast? We're going to get
I don't know. I mean, I hope that we would, but the thing is, it also should take new space, right? Like, you guys got your thing, which is fantastic, and I understand that it also helps to amplify your channel. But as you can see inside this, not just your channel, it amplifies your community, which is great for you. Good branding, well done for you and for establishing it and making it interesting. People that want to come and hear what you guys have to say and interact and the trivia and all that is fabulous. I think there's a lot of room for a lot of things in the game. And I think there's a lot of avenues of media, mixed media, bringing different communities together and celebrating the big fights that we have and the hilarious things that we have. And, you know, I look to all the different media channels and people that are involved in that to, you know, set their swords down at times and sometimes just reach out to each other, go, how do we help to create excitement for our community? So one of the things, you know, from day one, when the announcement was very first made, one of the very first people we reached out to was Damon Zell to give a, you know, directed Sarp and I spoke with Damon Zell and, you know, gave airtime and gave explanation and you know, shared a piece about our philosophies about the game and about our new merged entity. And, you know, I just think anybody that's creative, and we have a ton of creative people across all of our different organizations, not just within Kraken, but everywhere. Everybody's got creative people. Back in the earlier part of the game, I think there were some great stuff going on. I think it got a little bit quieter where maybe people are bored of seeing the same 5-minute fights or whatever. Like, we need to re-energize that. We need to breathe life into that. If people have creativity or want to figure out how to express themselves, every community should really support those folks. There it is. Thank you, Mox. So if you guys are looking inside the inside chat, not your on-air chat, but the other one, I just think that thing's hilarious. Yeah, support your media folks, because they help to keep the dream alive. They help keep the communities thriving, and they help keep bringing people into our game that we so much love.
Yeah, that's cool. And just to give a reminder to those that may be new or joining us for the first time, we do not really monitor the chat that's ongoing underneath the stage. Instead, we use the on-air chat, which is streamed onto the YouTube channel. So that'll be viewable for later.
Streamed live over onto Twitch right at the moment, but yes, will be posted up to YouTube later. And if you're not able to get into the actual audio channel here on the live cast, it's because it's always it's maxed at 50. It's something that Discord does. It's nothing that we can do. We can't boost the server because when we're actually streaming, they cut it off at 50. Period. So you can always go to Twitch, which is pinned, and then get on there and watch the live show from Twitch. There's a chat channel over there as well. I do monitor both.
Right on. And so, Jakoba, I'm so glad that you're able to take a joke and you're having fun with this, and you know, you're laughing at some of this content that's been coming out just by people. It's not even like content creators. These are just like members of other alliances or even potentially members within your own alliance that are, you know, having fun with it and taking it and, you know, having a laugh and stuff. And so I'm super happy that that's the case. We do typically like to poke fun on the show. It's not uncommon that we will poke fun at other entities, and including ourselves including ourselves. We talk crap to ourselves as well, and it's all part of the fun. And honestly, it's one thing that makes this show separate from others and other content creators and such, is not only the stuff that we cover, but the content that we are able to provide to you guys. And I have fun with it. Taylor has fun with it. We're having a good time, So, and ultimately that's what it's really about. But I'm excited to see what's going on with the Kraken Alliance as far as content goes. I've only ever seen PvP videos from Vetamune and Juby, so I'm not sure which other content creators are currently making content, if they're not official content creators, but I haven't really seen much else yet coming out of Kraken. So,
Sure. Let me address that, Rambo. Do you mind if I address that?
Please do. That's why
Sure.
you're here.
Oh, okay, no problem. So when I use the term content creator, I think it's an official term, and then if I can use it or co-opt it in an unofficial manner, the folks that we've invited, and it's, by the way, these are all volunteers, right? And they have folks that have joined up with the media effort across a variety of different skills. We're in such early days. I don't quite know exactly how it's where it's going to go. We're still in these early days where we have 40 different corporations, and in some cases they're just asking to make a cool avatar that combines kind of their own corporate identity with Kraken, and then you're seeing some really cool shit being created, and that will then show up in the intros for people's videos, or it may show up in hilarious memes, or wherever it's going to show up. So we're still early days in that. I'm very, very supportive and encouraging of the folks that historically have made battle videos, and those, I think, in many ways are your most obvious things. But I think, as I was saying before, I think there's a lot of room for other stories to be told. And I think a lot of us really enjoy that element of the game, the kind of the stories. I'm going to give you a funny one. After some fleet, I don't know, it's 4 or 5 nights ago, whatever, I woke up, got into Discord, and I saw that there was one person still in a Discord verse channel. Now, you guys know this scene, right? You log into Discord and you see one person. You know what this is, right? And I got in there and I knew exactly what it was.
For sure asleep.
Fell asleep, right? But the best part is he fell asleep with an open mic, and I'm going to save the name to protect the innocent, but he fell asleep on an open mic, and he was snoring audibly, really, really loud. So I put him out of his misery, and I went ahead and disconnected. He was a member of the community that I wasn't as familiar with, but it turns out that this guy's legendary for that, right? And even his nickname is kind of associated with it. Again, I'll protect the guy's identity to keep him from getting too embarrassed. But the point is, that's a story that needs to be told, right? So I would encourage our or other media folks to go and play that up, right? Pick another character, Sleepy, or one of the one of those types of things, and just run with that story and have fun with it. So somebody go and get an AI generator to cross the Sleepy, from the Seven Dwarfs along with Kraken, and then go and have fun and put that guy's name on it and put a little video out there. And wouldn't that be hilarious for a laugh? Whatever. And if somebody thinks that's cringy because you don't have the same sense of humor, well, move on, laugh the next joke. What are you going to do?
Yeah, for sure. I think I wouldn't say maybe every corp has one, but every alliance for sure has a snoring person on comms. They fell asleep while, hot micing, whatever, and it's just hilarious. I have one in my corp, though I haven't heard it in a long time. We have a snorer in the corp, and his name suits.
Well, let's get right into one of the things that you and I had talked about a couple days, Jakoba. You had a fleet coming up into Pureblind area, and you were actually stripping shields, or actually structure. It was structure bashing. It wasn't a pause either. It was a citadel. And I asked you about it, and you said we'd talk about it this weekend on the show. I didn't really understand what kind of an answer that was, but here we are. Let's talk about it. Is structure bashing all over the map on the menu, or is it just in the north?
I wouldn't say it's on the menu. We view pause warfare different from Citadel warfare.
Sure.
I would say Citadel warfare on the main is kind of prelude to a kiss for war decking. We had the exact same thing happen down south. Turned out it was a disgruntled former corp member who ended up transitioning over to a different corp and decided that he wanted to get a last hurrah and took a time or whatever. And I never even reached out to about it because, frankly, it didn't look like it was going to much. He didn't show up for armor timers, so it's kind of a big whatever. If it had gone to Hull, I probably would have reached out to you just to say, hey, are we going to dance? But that's not really on the menu at the moment. I reserve the right to work with my folks to, if we're going to go ahead and do something, it's not always going to be a, hey, this is coming. We might decide to do something and then let you know after the fact once you figured it out, the same way that I'm sure that you would.
Sure, why not? Yeah, sure, why not?
On the menu right now, pauses absolutely. And if you guys see it, look, pauses to me are some of the most fun content in the game right now. It keeps things, it typically isn't massive numbers, and it's typically not a shit ton of wasted time. It's lean and it's agile. It's usually 10, 15, 20, 25 people. It may or not involve caps. It's usually mixed fleets. It's very dynamic and fluid. And again, I'm speaking personally, I'm not speaking on behalf of everybody in Kraken, but as a pilot as well as a fleet commander myself. And by the way, I don't consider myself a great fleet commander, so you guys can all have poke fun at me, and I've lost a lot of fleet to your guys, so oh well. But anyway, I absolutely love pause warfare, and so whether we're picking on you guys at the moment, or whether we're picking on somebody else, and sometimes we will blow up pauses of folks that we've historically been in a coalition with. So we spread our pause love looking for fun content. And look, you guys have certainly given us as much as you take in that department, so we're happy to meet you guys on the grid and have fun.
Sure. Understood.
There is, at the moment, I mean, we're not war deck to anybody at the moment. And in terms of our identity, we're not a pacifist organization. I mean, we fucking love fleet fights. So we look to help set up great fleet fights. We'll be there when the fun is happening. We're going to show up. We're going to bring fleets. We'll be ready to eat when the time is right, and hopefully we'll give more than we get.
And in terms of, I know we've talked about this before too, and you weren't really reticent to say anything now, or then. Are you now, though, in terms of your blue status? Are you guys going to still remain blue with AOA? It looks like at least one of your, 4 total alliances is, because that's who was in the north, was one specific alliance that has a lot of APAC time zone players, and they were with AOA when they were doing the Citadel bashing. So that's the second part of my question.
I'll speak to both of those, mean, so that you guys are kind of look without. So first of all, you've got kind of the OPSEC piece of it, right? I would never, and by the way, I get asked this on an open mic with my own organization, right? I would never, and the message to all of your people and to my own people is I would never give out information that's going to put my community at risk, right? Part of one of my sort of supreme responsibilities, if you will, is the care and safety of my community, and so I would never do something that's stupid from an OPSEC perspective. So I'm going to give you a sort of a politician's answer to the OPSEC question, because it also reveals a little bit about my priorities for the game and how Kraken views the server. And I'm going to give you a longer answer to that. Okay. But in terms of our organization, because there is a hard limit on the number of corporations that can exist inside of an alliance, not unlike your own organization, it all doesn't squeeze, right? We're more than 30 entities, so it doesn't fit into one. Okay, so there are four alliances with a variety of different corporations that are organized around different either region, whether it be regions or time zones or whatever the rationale that we used in order to carve that up. There are actually 4 entities. In the specific example that you mentioned, we do have a sizable Asian population that's within the Kraken. And if they choose to play with their blues, they're blues, and they're welcome to go play with their blues. That wasn't I'm not saying that was sanctioned by Kraken or anything like that. They're blues, and they go and they're playing. Are we blue with AOA? Yes. At the moment, we are blue with AOA. That's a matter of fact. You can look up standings, and that's a matter of fact. If your question is, when are we going to not be blue with them? I would say that that's an out of bounds question, and more importantly, you will never hear me ask you about your alliance standings or otherwise. That's your business, how you run your alliance. And so for me, or for whether we're talking TSC or Meow or whomever, what standings they ultimately set is their business, and it's an OPSEC point. But this is where it comes to it, and I think this is probably one of the most important messages you hear, and I think it's where you'll find that our organizations have a lot in common. And it was one of the reasons why the merger took place. And that is, we look at what has happened on the Chinese server as a bad thing. And we have no interest in any one entity, including the Kraken, growing into such scale that we control the server. We think that's a bad thing. So for us, part of our, guiding principles, or if you will, our core values is that we will work to help to keep balance on the server, because we don't think the game is all that much fun if somebody's, and I don't know what the percentage is, so nobody's going to pin me down on a certain percentage, but it's kind of like, you know, when you see it, when there's one entity that wields so much power in the game that everybody else that's on the server has to bend to their will and can't do what the fuck they want to do and play the game they want to play it, then that's a problem. And the server can count on Kraken not growing to that point that we become the enemy, if you will. And I'm going to use that, and I'm going to talk about that word also here in just a minute. But second of all, we will participate in checking the power of any other singular entity on the server that tries to stake out that position, which might put us with some very strange bedfellows, right? Our preference is to not play in coalitions. Our preference is to stand on our own 2 feet, to control our own destiny. And so in that sense, we're not fans of Blue Donuts. We're fans of being exactly who we are. So there's Kraken, and then there's everybody else. You know, in a perfect world, everybody can play along with everybody. But that's, you know, our standings are where they are right now. Is this what it's going to be a year or 2 years from now, or 6 months from now, or 3 months from now? Who knows? And you're welcome. I will take questions if you want to probe on that, because I know I said a lot there, but you're welcome to ask me a tough question. I'll do the best I can to give you a straight answer.
Yeah, no, that's fair. So I mean, you brought up TSC. So I mean, up until this happened,
great.
I looked at
Gray. We're having fun content
right.
with them.
I understand that. Yeah, you guys got a little thing going on down in Stain. But my question is before this happened, I looked at TSC, Burr, and Void as kind of like the three amigos with AOA. All of you guys. Blue this whole time up until here recently, just in the last few months, really, after the server war was over and all that other shit. So what made you decide to partner up with Void but not TSC? Is it because you felt like that entity would be too big? I mean, you didn't even talk to TSC from what I understand. So what led to that? Was there why not talk to TSC? Bees and Stony are good guys.
Sure. So I don't I will neither confirm or deny which conversations happened and with which entities, but I'll tell you sort of what happened on my watch, if you will. For those of you that do or don't know, I'm quite a reluctant leader. It wasn't like I angled to get here, and if you look at my trajectory to what brought me to this point, and it's funny for me to be the one that's on your show and for me to be the voice of it, in some ways it's a little hilarious for those folks that know me as a Care Bear, going all the way back to the first days in High Sec and then in Providence, and then through being curb stomped by you guys in Fountain and then in other places. I personally, as well as other leaders across the former various coalitions, right, developed various relationships throughout those coalitions, fighting you guys and fighting others. Fighting against No Please Stop and then fighting with No Please Stop. And, over the past 3 or 4 years, various relationships strengthened. Not unlike if you look at your current extended organization, you look at somebody like CRB, that for most of the time that we've fought you, tended to be fighting with you, right? Now, I know that they're not you, but they're on the main, tend to be with you. And if it goes back further, and I don't know some of the history, forgive me, because I wasn't involved in some of the first year and a half of the server, I was more of a Care Bear and wasn't involved in some of the broader geopolitics of things. But relationships formed, and I would imagine you've seen this within the coalitions that you've been a part of when there was the server war. Certain organizations mesh with others, maybe certain individuals get along better with others or other. There's, what space is out there between people, there's history and all that other stuff. I came to power a few months ago, and in doing that, I brought the set of relationships that I had, as well as the status of the relationships that exist between all the various parties. And I looked at, quite frankly, my current situation in Burr and where the server was, and myself, along with my advisors and other people in the server, looked at what was going to be the best move to make at this moment in time. And I think the thing that was most important was that we needed to shake the server up. And I don't want this to come off like, I don't want to I don't want to sound arrogant, right? Because I don't want it to sound like, okay, I make a move and all of a sudden like the whole server is like, oh my god. I don't. That's not the message I'm trying to deliver. I think what I'm trying to say is I needed to make a move and it couldn't be a small move. I couldn't go to try to, get a small corp of 30 or 40 people, right? Or I couldn't try to cleave off some chunk of, some unhappy group of, maybe there were 2 or 3 corporations within Silent that were unhappy, and I could have made some move to cleave them off because it would help me out. We needed to make a big, bold, decisive move. And if you look at the chessboard, there's only a few of those to be had.
Yep,
right?
that's fair.
And I can
that's
tell
fair.
you that
Yep.
when you make a move like this, Taylor and Rambo, you cannot believe what a royal fucking pain in the ass it is to try to make a move like this.
Yep.
To be able to keep it under wraps, to be able to keep it out of the ears of your allies and out of the ears of your opponents.
Yep.
Right? And to play out the chessboard on all the 50 million scenarios. I mean, we could have announced it in day one. Like hour one, we could have gotten war decked by 3 or 4 different entities on the server. And it still could happen, right? We're still early days. I mean, we wake up tomorrow morning and I could find out that we got 2 or 3 people that war deck against us because they think this is a really shitty idea, or they heard me on the podcast last night and they're like, "Oh my god, what a wanker! Let's fucking, let's make sure he doesn't succeed," right?
Yeah.
He's a traitor. He's a traitor.
I mean, Void's
people
dead.
hear me and they're like, "Oh my god, this guy's an idiot. We need somebody else to co-lead this thing." So
I mean, I'm happy. Void's dead, and we didn't even have to do it. It's great.
yeah, I mean, yeah. And so
I've been holding that in the whole night. Sorry, I've been holding that in the whole night.
All good. Look, those are my words. Those are my words. So I'm happy to hear you using them. Void is gone, and Burr is gone as well, and something new has emerged from
So's
it.
Burr.
Look,
Yeah.
on that point, I want to give, and my own community may cringe when I say this, but I want to say this. I am amazed, having been part of 2 organizations that got curb stomped and don't really exist anymore, right? 2 leaders that came before me that I was a part of their organizations, and they lost and left, right? They were not able to recover. The fact that the Silent organization recovered from what you guys ultimately went through, it deserves kudos, deserves my respect. Okay. So, and it's a credit to your line pilots being willing to rebuild. It's a credit to you guys having a deep enough management bench and an organizational team that still had a clear vision on what you guys wanted to do.
Yep.
You guys, you guys got your ass kicked and you came back from it, and that's a big fucking achievement. And I'm not trying to belittle you guys. I hope that you guys hear it in the sincerity with which I'm saying it. There's a lot of entities in Eve Echoes that went through something similar and didn't come back from that and find themselves with a new identity and a new leader and a new name and a new whatever. And the fact that you guys are still kicking it, good on you, well done. And I will tell you that I have no interest in exterminating any entities in the server. Us having our size and our capability, and even if you read it in the words of the Kraken press release, we're not out to empty the universe. Like, it's the dumbest thing ever. We want to stay in control of our own destiny, right? And so when you ask Void and Burr coming together, given where I sat and the options that I saw in front of me, was far and away the best option.
Yeah, very nice. And so, it's something to add on to that about previous entities too. And I'll just mention it too, since some of your critiques happen to bring it up, as this is just another Pangen 3.0. So what are your thoughts on that?
I mean, I don't even know what that means. Maybe, I tell you what, here's the thing. So I came into Pan and Gen late in the game. So how about I let you define what that means, and I'll see if I agree or disagree with it.
So if we look at the history of wars and everything that's happened, Pantheon had gone down in basically 1 month. All those corporations fled. Some went to, at the time, who was that coalition that was right next to them? Not TSC, but the other one. Can't think of the name. But some corporations went to TSC, some went to GenFed, some went possibly elsewhere. And then the war happened with GenFed and Silent Alliance, and GenFed actually folded in 3 weeks. And a lot of those corporations fled or became Burr. So it seems like Burr had taken a lot of the PvP corps, made it their alliance, all the corporations that got, in a way, I want to say denied because they weren't PvP oriented, ended up going to Void, OG, other alliances and such, right? So in a way, those corps are coming back and joining you once again, the corporations in Burr, and it seems like it's just pan-gen, 2024 at this point. It's all those corporations come back, after over a year of being in other entities and whatnot. It just seems like there's a reunion there.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you look at who's there, there's definitely a bit of getting the band back together in terms of there's some players that were there then. There's a lot of new players. There's a lot of new faces. I mean, hell, I'm a perfect example of somebody who, I mean, there's different leadership. There's different folks that are leading different departments and creating content, etc. Yeah, I don't know. I'm sure there's a narrative there. I think the way that you characterized, though, that mainly the PvP corps went here and other folks went into other corporations, I'm not sure that's exactly how it plays out. I know that you guys bought the Legacy Void guys for a long time, and they had help come in. We were part of that. Other folks were. But I don't see how that's exactly Gen. I just don't see it quite the same way. I mean, look, we both want content on grid.
Yeah.
Right. We both want content on grid. So one of the things we could have done, and TSC could have done, is we could have let you just wipe out Void. Right? Maybe we could have done that, or maybe AOA could have done that, right? But the calculus at the time was that doesn't make a lot of sense. Like, what would be more fun?
That's why we stopped.
We fill the grid with people, and we have fucking content. I will tell you, I had some of my most fun content during the time that the Burr folks came, to participate in the defense of there was a lot of sob warfare. You guys were putting a lot of pressure on us. And by the way, a lot of it was, say this respectfully for any of the SHH folks, a lot of it was us fighting CRB 6 days a week and then SHH 1 day a week. And so we saw that as really good content. CRB made Void a better set of pilots and a better set of FCs.
You do realize why we stopped fighting Void, though, right? At the beginning of this year, you do realize why I stopped that.
I mean, I
take a wild guess as to why I stopped that. Because we were having fun. We were doing well. We were having a great time. There was no reason for me to stop it except for one. Do you know why? I've said it here on the show before.
Okay, go for it.
Because every time we would blow up an OG or Void Citadel, AOA would anchor one in its place. And all we were doing was making AOA stronger. We might have been able to wipe out Void, but all we would have done in that process was given AOA a 10th region. And I wasn't about to continue doing that. Well, that's why we stopped.
And if that's the case, then I would say, well done, because that's clever. It doesn't do any good at that time to wipe out. I mean, if you think about the math on that, it just makes no sense. So if that's the way that that you feel about it, then I would say smart move, because it just doesn't do any good. Like, our community, that the game is not, we don't have like 30-40% year on year, new players coming into the game, right? Like, no. So the folks that are playing the game, it's in our interest to make sure that we're getting people on grid, that we're setting up fun content, that we're celebrating these big fights that are happening, that we keep some of the hate out of the game, some of the mean-spiritedness out of the game, and we just let the fucking game be the game. So, and it sounds like it's a big core value of mine. You will never hear me, I mean, sometimes some of our pilots will say, but you'll never hear me use the word enemy in the game. It's stupid. We're just opponents, right? Whether we were talking about playing football or whatever the sport is, or a video game, right? It's not video life. It's a video game. So we're playing a game. You're my opponent. Tomorrow we may be in a collaboration where we have a different opponent, and that's fine. But yeah, so anyhow. Yeah,
in further to that point, it's like, AOA, we don't want AOA to be any bigger. It already is a well-known fact that they have this RMT empire and they have all these bots, and that's why it's such a big question to ask if Kraken under this new banner is going to be allied to them. It's because ultimately I don't want you to agree with RMT. I don't want you to agree with bots are good. You know, the scripting type bots, not your AI nanocores. Granted, there's nothing we can do about that. But I honestly feel that you personally do not agree with that type of gameplay. So it's hard for me, and this is just coming from the SHH perspective, it's hard for me to believe that you would maintain blue status with them, even though they're well-known cheaters. Now, maybe you know stuff that I don't, where that changes your vision on, whether or not they proved to you that they don't do that compared to what we found, because SHH fights with them every day. Literally, we get dropped on, they have logout traps, all this stuff. We've talked about this in the past on the show. We talk about how they get banned for scripting and all this type of stuff. The Mauler bots, I fundamentally think that you don't agree with this, but it's still surprising that you would still maintain blue with AOA.
Fair enough. And look, you are. I mean, you guys are making it very clear that you're going to cast judgment on how we set our standings. I promise you that I will not do that in return to you. I'm not going to comment or speculate on what any of the entities do in the game, whether they're botting or not or otherwise. What I will tell you is just how one pilot plays the game, and then you guys can think about whether that's relevant, because I'm co-executor with another pilot who plays the game differently in terms of his number of characters. But for everybody that knows me, know that I am one pilot. That's it. I have no alts. And I want you guys just to let that soak in for just a second, because it was funny. Somebody once said to me, they're like, well, you can't play the game with one character.
Like, sure, you can, but that doesn't really mean anything. And the crux to the issue here isn't how you are. It's not making judgments on you. We're trying to understand how you're going to operate moving forward. And being blue with an entity that does support RMT and that does support botters, are you going to support botters? Are you going to support RMT? That's the question.
I don't. Taylor, the reason why I was framing up that example is that if it were up to me, everybody would play one tune, and that's all you could do in the game.
Ooh, that would suck. Don't shoot the game in the foot. That would suck. Don't shoot the game in the foot with that suggestion.
That's one person's point of view, Taylor. That's one person's point of view.
I know.
I think it would be great. I think it would be great if it took months for pilots to get into the most amazing ships, not hours, right? Like, I think it would be amazing if they could solve for how do we pull our communities together to work together in order to get this stuff, as opposed to, the clear and obvious cash grab that is the whaling aspect of it. Now, I'm also, I'm savvy enough from a professional perspective to understand, you look at the airline business, right? They've got a $200 economy ticket and they got a $5,000 first class ticket, right? And everybody on that plane is paying a different amount to get from point A to B, but in a different way, right? And that's how that economic model works in that industry. I get that they've got the same kind of model here, right? The folks that are either free to play or that are only spending the $5 a month or whatever it is, they're helping to create a community such that the whales can do what they want. That's fine. But it drives me absolutely fucking nuts that you can have pilots that can play 7 characters at once at the peak level of the game. And first of all, I don't even quite comprehend how that's fun for them, because when I go and play a game, I play soccer, I only get to play, or football, I only get to play one position. When I play poker, I only play one fucking hand. Right? If I were to play Hearthstone, I wouldn't play against myself playing a 2-person game where I'm one person and the other person at the same time. So for me, it doesn't compute. I'm sorry if I just shit on people that multi-box, but like, I'll never forget the first time I got ganked by somebody because he had Cokey eyes on the other side of the gate, and then he had his Hictor and his DPS, and he's playing 3 characters, and I'm only a single tune. It just doesn't feel like, that's not a game. I don't even know what the fuck it is. So if you take it to bots and if you take it to all that other stuff, it's a very different point of view about how the game. It's different than my philosophy about the game. Do I recognize that I got people in my own community, the multi-box, and people that have lots of characters, and there's reasons why they do and all that other, but it's not who I am, and it's not who I aspire. I want people to play together, right? The ultimate and purest essence of that is play the game with one character, because you cannot move even a single battleship, one single fucking gate jump, without taking a risk in nullsec if you're playing a single character. And so you get to experience the truest and purest form of the game by playing a single tune. So that's the guiding philosophy for myself. You're very fair to challenge me. I take the challenge on what happens in other communities, what I think is right and wrong, and what I think is fair and otherwise. I won't on this show or otherwise comment on that. And also, quite frankly, I would say I'm probably a bit naive as to what may be happening in other communities. So I'm not even in a great position to even take a stance on it with any named entity, I would say. But I think I think it'd be really shitty for the game. That's just that kind of activity in the game is just shit, and it just ruins the game for everybody.
100% agree. Yeah. So anyway, I was just kind of going by another one of those kind of critiques as to what's going on with Kraken. Do they agree with this? I didn't think that was the case, but I'm glad I did hear it from you that that's not the case. So,
Yep.
Moving forward, I'm not in Diplo. Granted, I'm in the leadership team in Silent, but I'm not executor. I'm not in Diplo. I don't care for any of that stuff. But at the end of the day, could we get along and have content? Sure, we can. I mean, you had even said it. You notice it. Recruiting for English speaking or just international players is kind of low compared to how many Chinese players that are on the server. And it's like, well, shoot, you could only recruit so much. How are you going to fight an entity that's so big, that has so many alts and all this type of stuff? How can you compete with that? And ultimately, it's teaming together, to be able to do that. But like you had said before, you're not really the coalition type moving forward. So it would just be interesting how the future goes down, with the...
I want to interrupt you. I want to make something
Sure.
really, really clear here because I just want to make sure that when we play the replay on here that what I said is clear. Kraken is not going to allow another entity in the server. It's not that we can allow. We will take every step possible to make sure that no single entity has control of the server. Full stop. So I don't know what that means in terms of who we make coalition with or who we
Yeah,
make
but you know what
coalition
you're saying
against.
there. Do you realize what you're saying there?
You realize what I'm saying?
I'll just challenge you a little bit on this so we can have some fun banter here. But when I hear you say that, what I'm hearing is we're not going to allow someone else to have control of the server because we will have control of the server. If you're not allowing someone else to control the server, then you're trying to control the server. That's what it sounds like. Oh, I'm listening. I'm listening.
Hopefully you'll go back and listen to what I said because I know we have 47 witnesses.
I am. I'm just saying that's what it sounds like.
If you remember what I said we have no interest in growing to become that. Right? We're not going to control the server, but we're happy to check the power of somebody that has an ambition.
Okay, good. I'm glad we got that out.
Okay. Yeah. What's the old saying, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Long enough, you become what's Batman? What is it? If you stick around long enough, you become the bad guy or whatever. You become the enemy.
I have fully embraced the fact that at some point, I forget when this happened, but I fully embraced the fact that, everybody wants to paint us as the baddies, so fine. We'll be the fucking baddies. I don't care anymore. That's fine. There it is. Thank you, Bunker Boots.
I don't know that you guys are the baddies.
Not that we're Nazis, but
you guys are the baddies.
We've been called Nazis before. Someone even wrote a book about us being called Nazis.
That's not nice. Look, I've enjoyed fighting you guys.
Yeah, it's been fun. That's what this game is supposed to be.
Yeah, exactly, but I don't know that look, each community has its own reputation for its version of trash talking and local,
sure.
And it can definitely get out of hand. One of the things that the Kraken has made very, very clear in our kind of statement of our code of conduct, if you will, is that and you'll see it when you're on grid when I'm around. I am not cool with that. Like that's not fucking cool. And when we see people in our fleets that are starting to get a bit on edge or starting to take it out, we will check them. Okay, and this is the other thing I give this as I'm giving this to the SHH organization. If you guys see my guys and gals shit talking or doing something stupid and local, you've got a direct line to me to bring it straight to me, and we will challenge them to maintain their values.
I am so glad that you have that standard set for your pilots, and that you're actually approachable to that type of concern. Is not many people are. Some people will be like, "Ah, fuck off. We don't care about you," or it doesn't filter down to the corpse. Or understandably, we do the same thing in silent. Like if you're posting just absolute absurd crap, then obviously, leadership's going to find out about it, maybe talk to you about it, and hopefully you don't see it again. There's other instances where it potentially gets worse as well. So, I'm glad that you have that standard set for your pilots. I know there was one specifically, Gibbs the bully. I think everybody in here knows him.
Why are we talking about Gibbs?
Dude, he nonstop is a chatterbox in game, and he's like, he'll MF SHH all day, and he's hopped every alliance. I believe he's in Void, but or it was in Void. I don't really keep up with the everyday corp that he's in, but he's hopped in quite a few, and good thing he's probably not playing, because last time I heard he's not really playing, and so therefore I don't have anything to report, because he is constantly talking crap. And I was hoping to maybe bring that to your desk one day, but I haven't seen anything yet. So, but like I said, I'm glad that you have that standard set for your pilots, and I think your pilots would also agree that should be a given, right? It should be a given. Like, come on, it's a game after all. Salt is one thing.
When somebody kind of has a laugh at themselves, and especially if they lose and they just, good fighting local, or they're like, shit, I fucked that up, or they just like admit that they didn't play it as well as they want rather than getting all butthurt. But, we both have salt channels.
Sure.
There's nothing like nice piece of salt to savor after a win. But, some folks take it really, really personal. But, what are you going to do? This game has consequences.
And it's always...
Nullsec, you find Nullsec, it has consequences. It was one of the things that drew me to this game. I remember my very first loss myself, and it's what drew me back to Nullsec.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And it seems like, too, if we were to talk about salt, or just, people dying in, like, some high sec or low sec area, and, they're doing encounters, they're doing mining or something, and they get killed, and it's like, it's a 40 million ISK, venture, whatever. And then they die to PvP, best. And they'll motherfuck you for hours. They said they're gonna hunt you down. They'll do everything in their power to get you to feel it, some sort of misery out of it.
They'll call you shoes. They'll call you doors. Yeah, somehow those are the worst insults. But yeah,
more veteran players are. I mean, it's like, oh, okay, I just lost a 32 Bilisk Phoenix. Okay. I'll try again tomorrow, right?
Right.
The fun thing about it, though, is because it's a global game, insults are very localized to languages and cultures and otherwise. And so, it's kind of hilarious. It's like watching Sacha Baron Cohen or something. Like when you insult somebody in your language and then it's translated across, there's always something lost in translation. And so it tends to be about 5 times funnier when you're getting insulted by somebody, because you don't you can't quite make it out. You're like, what the hell is that supposed to mean? So, and that's what's part of the fun. But sometimes it's part of the things that it gets lost in translation, where it might come off way more offensive in your local translation than maybe it's said locally, and then things escalate out of control. Thankfully, the diplomats or others can lean into that. But, just pause for a second before everybody goes into full on, their outrage. Like, well, hold on a second. Maybe that's actually a very common thing that they might say to one another before you just go completely off on it.
Sure.
Because it didn't translate well.
Sure.
Yeah. I have seen that, where there's been stuff posted in salt channels, and somebody who speaks the language is like, oh, no, that was just translated wrong. This is what it actually means.
Exactly.
Or this is what they're trying to say. So, yeah, that's totally understandable. So, good deal. So I take it...
These are all softballs. I thought you guys were going to really come at me here. This is like, surely you have some harder questions. You got me here in the hot seat.
Yeah. Okay, here's a hard one. You ready for it?
Hit me.
Where's Ozier?
We're busy blaming him, so I'm sure that he appreciates that you ask about it. Oz is part of the new organization. Oz has a big role in the organization. Oz has been I'm in Oz's corp. I'm an orc, for those of you that know or don't know, or give a shit or don't give a shit. And Oz has been a mentor to me, in several different aspects of the game, and has supported my stepping into bigger roles within Burr and into this new organization. So I know you guys have a long a long history with us, and it got pretty personal with some of the attacks back and forth between everybody. So I hope, and at least I challenge you guys, and especially now that I've come on, and I'm happy to come on again in the future. But I hope that if you guys ever have a problem with me, that we keep it fun and professional and in good spirits, that it doesn't become personal. I have no ill will to you or your communities. I want you guys to thrive. Hopefully you guys will feel the same about me and my community and the health of the server. And it's definitely not personal. In fact, it's actually one of our core values at Kraken. We don't make it personal.
Yep, I remember reading
And that was one thing. One thing that I was absolutely ecstatic about was when this organization has come together, is you guys are actually open to doing media and interviews and that type of stuff. I was like, oh, sweet. I can actually have communication with you guys now, because in previous, I guess, leaderships, it didn't seem to be the case. Or, I could never get a hold of Void for whatever reason. My Diplo channel was, that whole Discord is dead to me. Yeah, but, I definitely appreciate your openness and willingness to be able to come on the show, especially this show, and talk with us and have a good time. And, and for future, we hope to have you on again, for whatever else may come up, or if you just want to come and hang out. I mean, you're always welcome.
Sure.
We have returning guests all the time, and Ozzier, I've known him for a very long time. I appreciate the guy. He's been a guest on the show. In game, I've actually been blue with him, red with him, all sorts of things. But he was one of the, heck, I wasn't even in corp leadership at the time, but I was a basic line member when some of my first get-togethers with Ozzier and fleeting up with him. And if you remember the Battle of 8-Spin, Jakoba, I don't know if you said you're day one. You were living in 8-Spin when that Citadel, when that outpost.
That one.
Yeah.
What region?
Yeah.
Where's a?
Cache.
No. I don't think I was in there. I don't think I was there for those. I don't think I was there for that.
You weren't in ORC at the time?
No. I went. I was probably. So I don't know if you remember. So this goes back to Mars, and I went. We.
Oh
carved
God!
out of,
you were in Mars?
Yeah, way back. Yeah. So and in fact,
rip.
funny thing. Oh yeah, no. Honk were the ones that really taught me PvP.
Oh.
They broke my heart.
Fountain, I love you. You're bringing me
yeah.
down.
No,
This song was about Mars.
Yeah. So no. That
Yes.
is. I go back to. I was in Providence, which Providence is what Providence was. But we were one of the primary kind of PvP corps in Providence, and I was a line member. I wasn't even an FC at that point, and we got recruited out and got an invitation to come join Das Boop in Fountain. And Das Boop was kind of deeper down in the Fountain pocket, down by like DBRN, but Taurus, which was right at the Hop Hib, that's the region, that's that constellation right there, right at the Hop Hib gate, was kind of was really, really fucking contested territory, right? Like that is just a doorstop. This is before Ansplex Gate, so like, and if you guys remember, Pillar Hamper used to just perma fucking camp that thing the way that Bozy perma camps Enrail, right?
Yeah.
And we, like total nutheads, chose to actually live there, which kicked off the Honk War, because I don't know if somebody that was supposed to be Honk's territory, whatever the fuck the deal was. I don't even know. I was too junior at the time, but yeah, that's
Mario.
Yeah,
Mario.
Our
Mario for MobiBot.
Yeah, so
he was all about that.
Absolutely. YRN and LTAC-A. That was where my pause was anchored in LTAC-A. I think it might have even been VVV that blew up my Citadel back then. Yeah, Honk. Oh, God, Honk just fucking nightmares over Honk for just, it went on for months and months and months. I was so angry and so agitated. They were very effective, though. God bless them. So, and I learned a shit ton from them. So, oh well.
You could look, and I hear it. It's like you look back on it, you now laugh.
Oh yeah,
like, holy shit!
At the time,
you remember those days? Yeah.
Well, it caused people to think. The bad side of it is there absolutely were people that really liked the game. They quit because they just couldn't handle it, right? Like they just were not cut out for nullsec, right? They're, this is a tough game, and especially from what I understand, this sort of, you've got this kind of EO hardliners that made the transition over to EE and brought some of that ethos in. But EE brought in a whole new set of community players, you know, and more casual players and players that weren't on Discord while playing. They just want to have a little bit of Farmsville or whatever the fuck they're doing. And, you know, our community's tried to figure out how to find that right balance of the big CTAs and the fun content with, you know, more casual players in the community. And, you know, that fighting honk, that'll let you real quickly know what kind of player you're going to be in this game, whether you're in it for the long haul or whether you need to head to High-Sec Islands. So for me, it just made me want to play the game better, made me want to become an FC, made me want to learn, made me want to get a group of guys around me that could do some of the same things that those guys did. And even to this day, you know, some of the more guerrilla tactics that you're seeing out there, and forgive me for like giving them all the credit, because I think CRB and some of the other folks and other organizations that really excel at it. And every alliance has their kind of hardcore group of folks that are just really, really effective at this kind of gameplay. And they're some of my those types of folks are some of my heroes in the game, because I think they're just really committed to that lifestyle and to that stuff and with that fun kind of wake up every day and let's just go out there and shoot shit. And those are some of the players that I hold in the highest respect.
Yeah. Though, you know, with that aspect, I remember the SHH side of it. We were blue with Pantheon for like 2 days. Remember that, Taylor?
Oh,
Where we had joined joined forces with Pantheon, and we were going to do a CTA with Pantheon.
Oh no!
But while we were at that CTA, I guess Honk had attacked some probably Citadel. I don't really remember the details, but Honk did some attacks, like backdoor attacks to Pantheon, and Banana Man didn't like that, and so the Coalition, I mean, basically just he cut it off right there. That was while Nihilus was the SHH executor at the time. And remember what that Coalition was called?
I have no clue, and I would have been such a noob. Like I would, at most, I would have been a Hictor pilot in those days. It was like I wasn't even an FC. I can't remember. There's probably guys on the call that might remember it. Maybe they could type up in the on-air chat, but you know, it just predates me.
Yeah.
I guess kind of the first year and a half, the game kind of missed me. I just wasn't as fully committed to it. But it really was Fountain that really I felt Fountain and the Fountain Wars, and even losing to you guys and witnessing what you and No and Honk were able to actually achieve. That's where I fell in love really with the game. But it was
So
in the
you've
loss.
heard of the song. You've heard of the song "Fountain, I Love You." You're bringing me down.
I'm not
correct?
sure. You'll have to send me the YouTube link. I'm not
What?
sure.
What?
Wow.
The original song?
Wow.
Yeah. So forgive me.
Jakoba. What's
What
the
rock
house
side
number
is
on
it?
the rock that you're
You
living
heard
under?
it here. Jakobo's not very cultured into the Eve ethos.
Sorry.
Just play it. Bring it up and play it, Rambo. It's just to start it real quick.
I actually
it's great.
have I have my reggae version of it queued up.
Don't play that.
You want to hear that?
Oh, fine.
No,
Go
you
ahead.
want to hear the
Reggae version? Good grief.
reggae? Dude, it's good. Dude, it's hella good, dude.
This isn't the original, so it's not going to do
Look,
it
I'm not gonna lie,
justice.
Fountain is great space.
Just
Fountain is
don't do
great
the
space.
country one. Yeah, no kidding, God. Good Lord. Don't
Oh,
do
you
the
want
country one.
You want
No.
the country version?
No. Rambo sings. We don't want to hear that.
Yeah, the original "Fountain I Love You" song
Oh
was
my God, I have
Mario's
no
War.
clue. I'm sorry, guys. Boomer moment, but I just missed it. It must have happened before me.
Yeah, you're going to have to go back and get the original.
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna lie. I'll never forget the first time I was on one of these firesides and I heard Son Banana doing his thing. It was just like, what the fuck is this game that I've got myself into?
Yeah.
Who are these people? Like, what the hell is this? You know, I just and here I am. It's a great community. What can I tell you? It's got some funny characters along the way.
So how
Here's
many
the
Titans do you
original
guys
one.
want to build? Like, what's your goal on counts?
However many it takes to be able to control our destiny.
So 100.
If that's what the number is, however many it takes to control our destiny.
More than
As
me.
many.
I
here's what I would do. We're gonna
hope you
be
I
grinding for
hope you
these.
outbuild me. You won't, but I hope you outbuild us. I doubt you will, but I hope you do.
Fountain, I love you,
There's the original.
but you're bringing me down.
So good.
Fountain, I love you, but you're bringing me down. Pinging catch 22.
Oh, that's who it was. Catch 22.
Catch 22, yeah.
To
remember that
defend
earlier.
from one goose. Fountain, I love you,
Oh, this is
but
priceless.
you're bringing me down. Fountain, you're safer, and you're wasting my time.
This is great, man.
Our Dotland maps show why a Ren should be 9. But it's 2, 3, or 4. Thanks to Mario's war.
Mario's war.
Now we offline AP, battleships to Sir Prime. Fountain, you're perfect. Oh, please don't change a thing.
Oh my god.
You're mad German execs, now convinced he's a king. And so the salty collect. I mean, all disrespect.
Oh shit, howdy partner.
On the D4K grid to give Pillar their blade.
It definitely brings back some memories, huh?
Oh, it does.
Pillar on D4. Oh,
Fountain, I love you, but you're free.
So I shared it to you, and I shared it in the on-air chat.
I appreciate that.
But,
yeah, I appreciate that.
that-
Yeah, D4. Yeah,
I
you
would-
guys have some history with D4. You guys put a big one up in D4.
Right.
I tell my guys, if you're going to start a fight of any kind that has the number 4 in it, I'm going to tell everybody to pack up and go fucking home. I'm not doing it
Taylor,
anymore.
only in
Super
the second
Sunday.
digit. Taylor,
It's-
I've said the same
Super
thing.
Sunday.
I said it's only in the second digit. So yeah, no, I mean you're safe if it's in the first or the third
Right,
slot.
the
but if
second
it's
one?
all A4, no good. D4,
No good.
Sorry if it's too. If I'm rubbing that in a little bit. Sorry.
Jesus.
Bubble them, bubble them, bubble them, bubble them.
Oh my
There it is.
God.
Free fire, 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 free fire.
Yeah. The D4 was Super Sunday, where we had
Super
lost,
Sunday. Holy shit.
6 supers and a shit ton of capitals on there. It was a pretty big hit. It was a pretty
Yeah.
big hit. Yeah, Super Sunday.
Yeah.
That was the day I got banned
Out
off
there.
EE
Look,
Discord
I mean,
as well.
Look,
Yep.
the flip side of it is, and it might sound like I'm defending you guys. I don't mean to, but I think that the message, you fucking put it out there. Not a lot of alliances put it out there.
Yeah.
Right. You also within your community have some of the players that are most willing to use their supers in a more PvP context than in a PvE context, and
Sure.
for that there's respect, right? Each alliance would be better if we, if and when we all have 3 or 4 guys, gals that are equally as lethal out there doing their shit, blowing shit up, because that's fun. It's really good when shit blows up. And you guys have done a good job of attracting some of the folks that are, really lethal at that shit, keeping everybody else on their toes. So, well done. I'm not
Yes, indeed.
I'm not a big fan of Blue Tackle. I'm like really, really fucking not a big fan of Blue Tackle. Like at all. Like I really fucking hate Blue Tackle. I think it's really shitty. But folks that put together a doctrine, or folks that figure out the meta and go hunting and use the best tools that are out there and take the big risks, good for them, good on them, whatever alliance they're in, and they're getting results, good for the game. Shit blows up, it's good for the game.
Very much so. Very much so. And I mean,
Yeah.
Blue Tackle is its own art form. I mean, everything is open for opportunity in the game, as it should be anyway. So
Yeah.
I hate it
Including
too when it
my,
happens. I don't, I don't like it when it happens to us. But I mean, like it's just part of the game. It is what it is. So
Including the Blue Tackle character that's logged in eFICO.
he literally has a character called Blue Tackle to fuck with me in my own goddamn home system, Jakoba. This is the shit I have to deal with.
Oh,
And you never know when he's gonna undock, because he is a tackle character. Jakoba, it's one of my alts. It's kind of like one of these inside jokes that I have between Taylor and I, between Corpse and all this.
Yeah.
one story about you, Rambo, and I think this happened. I'm not 100% sure if I'm getting the story right, but do you have I was on a Scepter roam. We were 2 jumps away from eFICO, and I don't know if it was a friend of yours or a significant other of yours or somebody, but they were AFK AI ratting in a Vindicator, and we tackled them in scepters at close range, and this person didn't do shit, and we ended up blowing it up. Is it you or is it somebody else? I'm pretty sure it was you.
Probably his wife.
That's exactly who it was.
Well, it was Jubileus. It was Jubileus. You know,
He was in my fleet. I got a video. That was my fleet.
that happens more often than you think. Just a couple weeks, and what was it? 2 weeks ago,
No. This is like 6 or 8 months ago when this happened. But yeah,
No. I get that. She died that was for sure my wife. She was playing and she was, she was doing that while she was working. But get this.
I'll no hard feelings.
Get this though.
Yeah.
I'll give you a laugh here. Is maybe a week or two. I don't even know if Taylor knows this. Maybe a week or two ago, I was at work and then my wife sends me a text, says, "Oh, I just got both your characters killed. I'm on my way to G to go pick up your lost items." She was ratting with my characters, decided that she was going to step away and forgot my characters, the tablets, and then I ended up getting jumped and both my ships died. Yeah, because she forgot.
Oh, there she is. She's in chat.
She's chiming in. Where's my? Here, I'll post it. I know this is kind of just making fun of myself here, but honestly, I have the screenshot of the text. I took a screenshot of it because I was like, you know what? Just in case I need this for ammunition someday, I'm gonna take a screenshot of it here. Select photos here.
Oh boy.
Yeah, get this. Absolutely hilarious. My response in this too. Oh, come on. Right here. Send. Check the on-air chat. Accidentally got both your characters killed. Was doing a Vegeta run and forget I had your characters running AI as well as one of mine. I saved mine first and didn't get to yours in time. Newton Omega Striker got you. This is what happened. I mean, granted, we got the husband and wife combo going. We do a lot of collaboration in the game and stuff, and yeah, so it's all fun. She funded all the loot, probably out of my wallet, but whatever. So it's a joint.
She funded it out of your wallet. Does that not sound like a married couple here? I mean,
she bought all the. She's going to Jita to buy all the stuff, but
with your money.
She didn't mention that. Yeah,
it was with your money. Of course. I mean, this is just par for the course.
What's funny is one of them was the Maelstrom bomber, and it dropped the bomber mod, and that was like the most expensive item. She had to buy that.
Oh, geez.
Anyway.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's all fun, right? We have instances like that, and I've shared that in a corp and all this, and it's like we poke fun at it. It is what it is. I'm not mad. It happens, but it's just one of those things, right? So, and yeah, and Allie, if you undock blue tackle, basically B1G is gonna go after it. By the way, so
pretty much, yeah.
Make sure it's on a Rourke or
a Velator
or something tackled. Yeah. But anyway, Jakoba, it's been such a pleasure having you on the show. I don't want to keep you for too much longer, 'cause I understand you may have some stuff going on early tomorrow morning. So, like I said, it was great having you on the show. I hope to have you on once again. It was a pleasure talking with you, not only for the first time through comms, but on the show as well. And, if you got anything else to say, you can go ahead and say it, give your shout outs or whatever.
Yeah.
And you could be on your way, or you can choose to stay. We're going to go over game news and upcoming content and stuff on the podcast to finish out the show. And, kind of move on with the segments and stuff. But if you got anything else to say.
I got boring Earl aggro coming in hot in about less than 6 hours. So I got to get some shut eye and then wake up for some work calls. But I appreciate the invitation, Taylor, Rick, Rambo, and to your community. Let's keep the server fun. Let's keep it balanced. Let's keep it lighthearted and hilarious. And we'll be seeing you guys on Grid. So thanks for giving me airtime here. And I wish everybody some fun.
Yep. Thanks for
Cheers.
coming, man. Appreciate it.
Thanks a lot, guys. Thank you so much. Cheers.
All right, thank you. 07. All right. Good deal. Well, dang, we had him a bit longer than I was anticipating there, Taylor. We had him for a long time. Almost, heck, I have an hour and 41 minutes on mine, but I started a half hour early on my recording.
Yep. 1:30
So-
on my end from when we started the stream. So
Yeah, hour and a half with Jakoba. I'd say that was pretty cool.
yeah.
I was glad to have him. That was awesome.
Yep, that was
To
great.
talk with him. All right. So, shall we talk about game news and updates? The moving on with the show, I guess, right? It's almost like we forgot we have other stuff to talk about. We could have talked with him for probably another 2 hours. I don't want to keep his.
Yeah.
He was telling me he was gonna. He had stuff to do. And Taylor, I'm sure you got a flight in about 3 hours, so I got to get you on the road as well.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna need a couple Monster Energy drinks for tomorrow morning, I'm sure.
Probably going to, yes.
So, as far as announcements goes and the Eve Echo's 4th year anniversary, I'm not hearing anything about what's going on with the anniversary. Could there be something with the content creators, kind of like what we did last year when I was part of the program, where the community manager reached out to them to do a special video in which I don't know how to spell anniversary. But anyway, is there anything that's going to happen for the anniversary that I may not know about, that Taylor, that you could provide insight about?
Well, in terms of there being some sort of video message and those kinds of things, we haven't been approached by anybody for that yet. But that doesn't mean it's not going to happen, because like I've said last week, they sometimes do things a week or two after the anniversary as if this is the anniversary event, right? So, and I think this year is going to be more of the same, given what's happened in the last week and a half worth of code updates that weren't updates, release announcements that are no longer release announcements. So let's kind of back up for a minute and kind of figure out how we got to here, because where we are right now is less than 48 hours away from when we're going to see the patch notes for this week. Tuesday morning, U.S. time, Tuesday morning, mid-afternoon in Europe, evening in the APAC time zone. On Tuesday, we are going to see whatever they're going to release major update-wise for the anniversary, for the maintenance cycle on Wednesday. So what is it going to be? Initially, it was some of the code that we were seeing getting injected into the game. It definitely was moon mining, and they even said so much. They gave us a preview of that, saying that moon mining was coming. Moon mining was going to be a level 6 Sanctum unlock for Corporation Tech. There was going to be new ores and PI that came with that. The code also showed us, like we talked about this last weekend, details of what those what are some items that could be built from those underlying minerals and PI once they were reprocessed. These components were used for building strategic cruisers. The word strategic cruisers is in the damn code of the game at this point. And there's even code now as of Friday showing placeholders for all the Keepstar models, images, mechanics, and everything else, right? So that all of a sudden showed up on Friday. With that said, we had a huge drop on the Chinese server for the Chinese server. And this is something that I've stressed for a couple of days now that I want to make sure people understand. The Chinese server is not the international server. Those are two separate servers. Now, we can debate how much alike they are all day long because they're essentially identical, but they do different things on the Chinese server than they do on the international server, especially around events. They handle their events differently in China than they do elsewhere, okay? And that's been proven for years, ever since they put it out, all right? So the thing with this update that Rambo put the link to that was really confusing to me is there's images in that update that came from the Echoes Galaxy whatever 4x4 strategy game that's in beta right now. People are actually playing it in beta right now. It comes out at the end of the year or something like that, or beginning of next year. I don't know when, but it comes out soon.
Yeah.
But those images were lifted from the UI of that we got last year. Remember when we thought last year they were showing us all these crazy images of a completely different map driving a ship by hand with little thumb pads on it like you do in the Super Mecha Champions game. All that stuff was totally freaking weird. That it turns out that was going to be its own separate game. That's why it looked like it was such a separate game, because it is. And when you go back and look at some of these images they released within that update for the Chinese server, some of those images are from that game. So it was extremely confusing to me. And all the stuff they were wording in there was extremely confusing. The things from, we're going to take a ship, any ship, by the way, not just a cruiser. We're going to take any ship, like a destroyer. And you can now upgrade it with blueprints. You can just put blueprints into a ship hull and suddenly make it a better ship. And you can then unlock modules to put in and upgrade those. Like, that's a completely different mechanic than the fittings in this game. So it sounded something was off to me with that announcement. It sounded kind of weird. But it, and I don't know what that really meant in terms of if that's what obviously that's what they were intending to do on the Chinese server. They had everything in there for moon mining and all that. Still unclear to me if that's really what they intend on the international server. However, we do see in the code certain things about some weird oddities with blueprints that's already been put in there. Not released, but it's in there. So it was really hard for me to tell. I really didn't even want to say anything about strategic cruisers last weekend. Juby kind of helped spill those beans a little bit. It's fine. It's what it is. It's in the code, and that's all we were reporting here on the show, was that this stuff is there. So, and what it's actually going to mean and what it looks like when it's released, who knows, right? I even said that last week. Who knows? Not really sure, though it looks like it's leaning towards the real strategic cruisers, because those use the same name and terminology of types of components that they'd put in the game from those materials, same way it works in EO, right? So you can see where you can make some conjecture with that. With that said, looking at that Chinese release and reading through everything, holy crap, that was just a little off, like I said. And sure enough, come yesterday, or was it this morning? I forget. This, like, days in Eve echoes are like months. I don't know when this was. It could have been this morning, could have been last night. All of that stuff that was going to get released on Tuesday and Wednesday for the Chinese server has been canceled. The entire method of upgrading ships has been completely ripped out. They're not doing it. They've just said, no, we're not doing it that way at all. Moon mining has been postponed. Everything that they were going to do is totally postponed. Now that all came from the community over there with a huge uproar after that announcement. The thousands and thousands of people were complaining about it to the devs for the Chinese server, and that's why they canceled it. So, obviously they listen to the Chinese server. I can't say that they always listen to the international server that we're on, but they are listening at least in some way, shape, and form. If they were going to roll that out as they worded it in that announcement to the international server, we would have had a fucking riot on Tuesday. We would have had a fucking riot. It would have been horrible. It just would have been horrible. So, granted, there's some stuff in there that I would like to see before I say it's horrible or not, but it's quite potential. Exactly. There's potential there that we dodged a bullet. In part of that update, they said that there's 20 new warships coming with 5 new aircraft carriers and just a whole ton of shit. It's all canceled. It's all canceled.
Yeah.
So now what they were actually intending to release on the international server for us on Tuesday versus what the Chinese server was going to release on Tuesday, like I said, these things are a little different than one another. They're not the same. So I have no way in hell of knowing what's happening Tuesday at this point. Although I can still say that the stuff that was in the code that we talked about a week ago is still in the code. That's all I can say.
Right. And I think what we're going to see, this is going to be just speculation because I don't really know, is I think we'll see some of the stuff that's in the code, including moon mining and the new materials. I do not think that we'll see the research and development program like they were going to implement into the Chinese server.
No, they've totally
That's what
canceled
they called it.
Yeah.
Since they canceled it, but at first they were going to see it on August 15th in that update.
Yeah.
So, they do, in this article that I shared in the on-air chat, they do talk about the moon mining, how that's going to launch, and it tells like how, you actually spawn it in with a button click and all that type of stuff. So,
but they've canceled that over there too.
That, which I find to be interesting, and hoping that's not true in our case.
Yeah.
But
I mean, every single
the
thing you
same
see in that
time, it's
announcement,
like-
every single thing you see in that announcement from the link you posted, they've canceled on the Chinese
Yep.
server. All of it. 100%.
let's see, we have those
Canceled or
screenshots, too.
postponed. Put it that way.
Yeah. Here, I'll
Yeah.
copy the images over.
Chances
on
that we'll be
chat.
able to undock, very high. Yeah, there's that. That's the cancellation they put out.
So these are the images that are going around right now in various discords. I've been seeing them today being shared. Just people talking about all this stuff that was eventually going to be coming to the Chinese server, but then according to this person, I don't know who Soulgraver is or what they have.
That's just a guy in
What their
Legion. He
involvement
lifted
is.
that. He lifted the Chinese version off, translated it, and popped it into
Okay.
Legion server. Then that's what's getting passed around. It's
Okay, so I've seen that character before. I
Yeah,
didn't know
yeah.
it was the same one.
Yep,
I
it
thought
is.
this was maybe a dev or something, but
No.
okay. So there you go. Due to the major changes in the development plan, the update content will greatly delayed. So some welfare content, let's see, I enlarged the photos. So some welfare content and rewards will be added to improve the experience during the anniversary celebration. Once again, we apologize. Pay attention to system updates, announcements in game for detailed updates. So I think they're going to have some sort. Yeah, they have a. Where was it? They have a new medal that they're going to come out with.
everybody. Yeah, on
They're
the
going to put
Chinese
more
server
effort
anyway.
in this
Yeah.
in this medal. Yeah.
Yeah.
Termination of R&D plan commemorative medal,
Yep.
which will be distributed to all players via email. Yeah.
They're wasting time on
worries.
making that medal as opposed to the medals that were supposed to have been awarded in events that they put on a year ago.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm happy we finally got mine. But
Only on the Chinese
there's
server.
probably other
Yeah,
corps that-
I think that's probably correct. Only on the Chinese server. They are talking about the Chinese server
Yeah.
with that because they haven't officially put anything out on our server. So there's nothing for them to apologize for.
Yeah. So, but it, and you know, at this time, it's just speculation of how much of this stuff will we see? Would we see if we are going to see it? Are we going to see it this week? What kind of stuff are, you know, all that type of stuff. And for the anniversary, we don't know if there's going to be a parade. Corporations, as far as I know, were not invited to it. Content creators have nothing to do with the anniversary. I'm the only one that has made any sort of content about the anniversary, even before the devs have.
Yeah.
They haven't said anything. Community manager seems to be unresponsive. I don't know if she has a heartbeat. Like, what's going on? Like, you honestly have to say, like, what's going on? Are they focusing so much on the Chinese server where international server doesn't need any attention right now or something? But, like, you know, this isn't typical of Eve Echoes, you know, in their anniversary celebrations. As in the past, we've had songs, we've had events, we've had live streams, they've done giveaways, all that type of stuff. This year, crickets.
Well,
So,
yeah, I mean, we can speculate until we're blue in the face in terms of what they're going to do, when it's going to happen, if this delays things like a lot longer on other items like the Titans and all of that. But I mean, at this point, everything just feels extremely up in the air, and we're not going to know jack shit until Tuesday morning. We aren't going to know anything until Tuesday, for sure, until Tuesday morning, regardless of what's in the code, regardless of what we looked at, regardless of the Chinese server. It's just all up in the air. Now, and also in terms of the anniversary celebrations and the stuff they've done in the past, there's still time for them to do something because, like I've said, they always do these anniversary things like a week or two after the actual anniversary. It's like they start to think about the anniversary on the anniversary, and then like a week or two later they do it. I should be loud, guys. I'm like almost border red line. I don't know how I'm low. I don't get that. I mean,
I think previously I've had to set your volume up, but you're like 200% on my end, just so you
I'm
can
at 250 on my end.
have,
So,
yeah.
okay.
So just lower than me. Okay,
Yeah.
no worries.
Yeah, maybe another hotel note patch. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So.
Yeah, so what's going on this week? And I really hope that when this Tuesday comes around and we do see a glimpse as to what we're going to get in the update patch, Taylor, I'll be waiting for that live stream when you do go over that stuff. So this coming Tuesday. So that'll be big news. Hoping that we'll get some decent content out of it, possibly new ships or moon mining like everybody's anticipating. So that'll be cool. That will be cool if that comes into fruition. So moving on, they do not have any. I mean, they had one patch notes update, and it was bug fixes where they fix an issue. Characters would encounter black screen, optimize the traversing speed of multiple characters passing through a Stargate, simultaneously reducing queue time. When has that been an issue as of recent? Remember, okay, so the Battle of BOZ-1 a couple months ago?
Yeah.
I remember having to wait in a queue to jump the gate. So I figured that that's what they're talking about, optimized traversing speed, multiple characters passing through. There's a queue when a lot of people are going through the gates. You don't see it very often. Now, back in the day, I remember, when SHH was fighting Fireflies or GHA was fighting, at the time, F1 Alliance and all this stuff, like, you'd have all these people, you'd fill systems to their capacity. I don't think we've seen that as of recent. A star system actually has a player capacity of how many players can be in it, and that number is determined by the devs. It doesn't matter. I remember in GHA, there was a system limit of 400 people in a system, and I think it was based off security level. 1,000 used to be, what was the big battle in GHA time? The freaking biggest one of all time. What was that battle? Damn it. ZID, yes. ZID was capped at 1,000 players. Nobody could even jump into the gate, let alone, people were logged out in system because they knew that they was going to get capped. So then they had to call upon the devs, and the devs had to increase it manually to like 1,200 or 1,500. I think it was 1,500 or 1,600 at the time. We don't see that stuff anymore. And so when I see this gate optimization, I'm like, we don't see this very often anymore. So I'm kind of curious as to why that was maybe not a priority, but why that was in the plans to be able to adjust. So I don't know, just me speculating anyway. But
yeah.
I haven't seen that in a while. Used to be really bad back in the day. People couldn't get through gate, whatever. I mean, Jita was freaking packed for whoever knows how long. Months. Yep. Couldn't even get into Jita. So packed. Anyway, so that was it for their patch notes. They have no announcements and nothing really else of that needs to be reported off that server. So basically, that is it. Another kind of small amount of news, as not many people possibly know about this, was South Korea had just banned 266 games violating loot box probability rules since March. And Eve Echoes happened to be in that pool of games. So I guess there's a lot of people that are not able to log in due to that. And I do have an article open on it. Let's see here. 185 titles were already corrected the violations. Others can face a fine up to 20 million. I think that whatever the Korean currency is, I don't know it off the top of my head. Otherwise, comes out to $14.4 thousand US, or imprisonment for up to 2 years if they fail to comply with the government's requests. So, top games in the highest grossing and most downloaded charts to check whether they disclose probability according to law. Customer complaints they pay attention to, and games that they've already investigated to see whether new items and loot boxes that were added comply with the rules. So, yeah, that was a thing. I don't know if Eve Echoes had solved that issue, though. It's just something I don't know on the EE side. But this was published on August 7th about South Korea and banning its games due to laws. So potentially we could see the community being affected by that. I don't think the South Korean community was super huge. I know there was one corp that was mainly Korean in New Eden, but there's possibly and probably more, KOR, that that have been affected by this. So, similarly to the players that are in India where they have to use VPNs and maybe other countries as well, it's kind of that whole same scenario type of thing. So, yep, unfortunate to see, but at the same time, I'm kind of not surprised if EE will kind of, I don't know, just being Chinese devs trying to bend the rules a little bit, maybe to get a little extra money, and trying to violate some probability rules, trying to get more money out of it. Anyway,
Yeah.
that's just a little bit of tidbit, news outside source type stuff. Then let's see, check my notes real quick. I did have one more thing. I just want to make sure that this was it. Oh, Moby. We've all heard of Moby. We all use Moby, right?
Yep,
Mario.
yep.
He had done a update to the Moby bot recently, and I don't know if a lot of people know, but he's been having constant issues of people manipulating kill mills and providing them to the bot, and the bot tracking them and inflating character, ISK and snuggly rating, whatever, right? What do you call it? ISK war, whatever, right? But
yeah, and they've been doing it to specific orgs or specific corporations kill mails to try to make it look like those individuals are doing it when they're not.
Right.
So yeah, that's been a little bit of shit we've been fighting.
So here is the Moby announcement on that from Mario. Over the last couple weeks, I've received many reports of altered kill mails. First of all, thank you for reporting those. To battle the losers who think they are funny in Photoshop kill mails, I've built in a few measures to prevent this behavior. It is no longer possible to post screenshots anonymous through the website. Login is required. Kill mails will become locked after 30 minutes of the original post. It will be no longer possible to re-upload the same report after. The Discord user will be tracked for every change that happens to the kill mail during this 30-minute period. He will not hesitate to permanently ban anyone that tries to upload altered kill mails. Please stop wasting my time. This is a hobby project after all. He says, P.S. If your kill mail is currently locked and altered by someone, please post in the message in his report issue channel, and he will resolve that issue. And then he'd followed up where he was working on that update, and then he pushed that update. So he did another announcement. This one's been in the work for quite a time, but I could finally announce that the automatic verification of kill mails went live. Every hour, the system checks for broken kill mails and fixes any OCR mistakes that may have occurred automatically. This includes nasty Photoshop fuckery. The rest of the bot works fine just like before. Enjoy. So, yeah, I've been seeing a lot of the altered kill mails because they get posted, especially on Mario View on the Gulag. I think that's a common place where people see kill mails because if they're over a certain value, they automatically get posted in the general chat over there, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, it is. It is.
I wish that feature... Now, that feature is very specific to Airbus, and he built that for the Gulag and whatever else. I wish that was an actual feature that we could have on other Discords. But, altered kill mails, what he's really combating is the damage, maybe not necessarily the ship that was destroyed, but the ISK value gets altered.
Right.
The people who killed it, the names get altered.
Yep.
Those are the two big ones. Now, he did say, I did see some chatter about it. He's not worried about if they blur out the system because that a lot of people do that, and people, they want to kind of hide the system that they're doing PvP in. If they got expensive ships in there, so be it. That's not going to determine your Snuggly rating.
That doesn't.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
That doesn't matter. No, what I'm saying is that doesn't matter if you go and hide the system. If that ID tag is still showing up at the top, I can pull that kill mill up in game and see where it was at, and you're fitting and scroll through it and everything, just like you do if someone posts the kill directly in the game. So you can pull up every kill mill if you have that ID number up in the top.
Right.
So
yeah, you could actually do it in the game. There's a command that you can do.
Yep. So if you really want to,
you can pull up any kill mill.
Yeah, exactly. So if you really want to hide that kind of stuff, then don't post the kill mill, because if you scrub that ID out, it's not going to go through the Mario bot anyway.
Right.
So
there you go. If you don't want to be found, then don't post it. So
yeah, exactly.
I was talking
yeah.
with Mario a little bit as to potentially if he knew who the culprits were, and he speculates he may know who it is. He doesn't know who for sure is doing it, but based off some of the kill mails, like you had said, it seems like they're kind of blackmailing another corporation of doing it.
Yeah.
I don't know, is blackmailing the right word for it? But
no, it's not blackmailing. It's
just
it's not even extortion. It's more like libel, I guess. They're calling out that group for doing it when they're doing it to that group. So it's just slander, right. I guess, at that point.
I guess these pilots are going to the extent of creating new Discord accounts and Discord servers just to upload altered kill mills anonymously. So holy smokes, they have the time to be able to put that much effort into manipulating that stuff. Go do it on the battlefield.
I was going to say, you got that much time, go shoot someone.
This is absolute crap.
It's true,
People
Tiger. I mean, you're right. That's
garbage.
real Eve. That's just part of the game, right? But it's also kind of like, man, that's kind of like those guys who spend, an entire week nonstop, every waking moment, trying to figure out how to make a buck. And they go and rob a convenience store, and that's how they made their money that week. But they spent 60 hours plotting it when they could have made more money by just having a freaking job. Or even a side hustle gig.
Yeah.
I mean, not everybody, whatever. Everybody's got their thing they want to do, but that's part of that mentality. And some ways you bring that over into the game, and that can make it, humans suck. That's all of it. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Humanity sucks.
It's true. It's true. It's a cesspool, and we're all in it together, like it or not. But and I've always said, to each their own. Everybody play this game the way they want to play this game, right? As long as it's within the bounds of the rules that NetEase puts in place, right? So other than that, play the game however you want to play. It's totally fine to fuck around on Discord. It's not part of the game. You can fuck around on Discord. It doesn't impact the actual game. So it's just part of the community, part of the fun. Slandering is a job,
indeed.
Yeah.
So, that was basically the latest update from Moby and Mario doing that type of stuff for his community as well and making the bot better. So, good deal. I wanted to report that because that's a good change. I believe in that. That's a good change. So, good on for him for doing that type of stuff and constantly having to combat all the crap that he gets sent his
He
way
spends so
when it
much
comes to
time
that
on
stuff.
that service for us. He spends so much time on that, and it's an excellent
And I
service.
see there's still some kill mails on there where it reads the people's names wrong and all that stuff. Like, you're gonna have some sort of
No one's
there's
perfect.
gonna be some errors that slip through. Yeah. So, yep, he's doing that all. He does a good job. So I only have one more thing on my notes that I wanted to cover that this happened this last week. It actually happened the actual incident happened on July 30th, but the community of Black Flag Pirating Company, you've most likely heard of this corporation in game.
Oh yeah.
Pirate Corp. So this last week, they had the CEO or the founding member of that corporation had actually got killed in a hit and run. I don't even want to call it an accident, incident on the side of the freeway. And so that corporation I don't know if they held as some sort of event, but they created a channel. The character's name was JB Dix, Dix, in game, and he had passed this last week for doing that. There's actually a news article up on it. I'm going to turn it down just a little bit, so hopefully it doesn't blow your ears out. But there was a thing on it right here.
Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us. I'm Marilyn McAuliffe. Barboursville police are looking for a white Chevy Silverado after a crash sent one person to the hospital this morning in Cabell County. So the crash happened near the 29th Street exit in Barboursville along I-64 just before 6 this morning during rush hour. You could see traffic was backed up. We spoke with Barboursville police, and they tell us that the crash initially involved a tractor trailer and a passenger car. And they say that while they were investigating, a white Silverado hit the driver of the tractor trailer after the crash while they were checking on the other passenger. No word on that driver's condition at this time, but they are working to learn more. Anyone with information on the Silverado should call Barboursville police.
So that happened in West Virginia, I believe. So if people, members of the community, whatever, if they have something to say about that, they have a channel on there. Oh, geez. No, I'm just going to close the tab. No more news articles.
No.
But, people have died. This guy, he liked, I believe it was a Thanatos, was his favorite. People saying maybe his favorite ship was the Nyx. So they're talking about that. A lot of people were just saying, they're kind of mourning the loss. Rest in peace, JB. Some people were posting kill mails of JB using his Thanatos in PvP. And I guess he even has a star, like a real life star that we could see in the sky named after him. The star is called JB Dix, and it even has coordinates of it. It's in the Hercules constellation. So there you go. There's that. One of the members of the community did that for him, named a star after him. And so I personally don't know the guy. This was just something that came across my desk this last week. We lost a pilot, a member of the community, all that type of stuff. So if you want to go over to Black Flag Pirating Company, if you don't have that link, I can get you an invite to that Discord, and you can say your piece or whatever that you'd want over there. So, anywho, that was basically all that I had for this episode. I don't have anything else.
Good show, 2 hours.
Yeah, it was a decently lengthy show, and I honestly, during this last week, we'll keep close eye as to what's going on as far as the updates goes and game news and all that type of stuff. As what are we going to get this week? Because indeed it is the anniversary week. I'm hoping that we're going to get some cool content. Wednesday's the 14th. 15th I have jury duty, so that's going to be fun.
Wow.
And then next weekend let's see if we got stuff to talk about for next week's podcast.
We will see.
With that being said, I am done. Taylor, do you have anything to add?
No, that's all I got. It's a great show.
Yeah, good show. Thank you for coming on, and I want to thank everybody that was in the audience today. We had a late U.S. time zone episode this week, and it seems like it hasn't been the norm. Right, because typically we're going off your schedule and we're doing like EU prime type shows, but we were working with Jakoba on when he was available for this episode, and we got him when he was available. So this here is it. Until then, I want to thank everybody that joined us. We had a full audience tonight, as well as people watching on Twitch, and I guess 07. Thank you all for joining. We'll see you guys next week.
Yeah, we'll see you guys.
Destroy